Hello there, welcome back to my channel. We got our snow day, y'all. It is Wednesday, January 22nd. We are returning after what started as a long weekend and turned into an even longer weekend. We were off Monday, and then yesterday we did have a snow day.
Enjoy the snow, losers. I'm so happy for you, Kelly.
We'll chat about that, but it's the perfect time to come back because now it feels like we've had a little mini reset, which I know we just had a reset after winter break, but you always could use a mini reset every now and then. I have some new things to introduce to my students, including a new tracker for iReady, which is what we use for their personalized practice. I have a new math game for our flex time. I got some things done over the long weekend, and I'm excited to be able to share it with you, so let's jump in. First, let's chat about the snow day, because obviously that doesn't happen often. Who would have thought I would be chatting about having a snow day while teaching in Texas? But then again, if you are from Texas or you live in Texas, you know there's like one winter storm, I feel like, that happens every year, and sometimes they're bigger than others. Ironically, I remember back in 2021 when Snowmageddon, and I use air quotes, but actually it was pretty disastrous. When that happened in February, I actually got stranded here in Austin because Billy and I were looking at houses to move here, and I was teaching virtually at the time because of the pandemic, and I remember teaching virtually from our hotel room. Everything was shut down. That's the thing, is they're not equipped for snow here. So even though we only got a dusting, y'all, it barely covered the ground, it was enough to cancel school because they just don't have the infrastructure here to deal with snow. Plus, people are not used to driving in it versus when I was on the East Coast, it would take a couple of inches of snow to cancel school usually. But that being said, I thoroughly enjoyed my snow day, especially because they called it early. They called it on Sunday afternoon, which, as I mentioned, we were off school on Monday. So then before the weekend even ended, I already knew that we were gonna be off through Tuesday. And I relaxed. I got stuff done as well, but it was by choice. It wasn't because I felt like I had to, it was because I truly wanted to, and that was a really good feeling. And I would just like to say, it's been kind of ironic. I had switched over our stars in our star jars to snowflakes back in December, and it actually ended up snowing. But I did want to share with y'all, first of all, the shop owner that I got these star jars from, she's on Etsy. She has extended my discount code for 15% off. So if you use code Pocketful15, you can save 15% on the star jars. I don't get anything from that. Like, it's not an affiliate code. I'm just sharing that because I do get asked about them a lot, and I do have a discount code to save a little bit of money if you want the exact same one that I have. But even better, she has agreed to do a giveaway. So we're gonna give away one of these exact same star jars that I have with the black background, the white text, and the stars that go with it. So if you are interested in grabbing yourself a star jar and you want to use the discount code, it's Pocketful15. But if you want to enter the giveaway to be able to get your own for free, she will ship it directly to you. All you need to do is give this video a thumbs up, be subscribed to my channel, and then leave a comment on this video. I will reply to the comments randomly, and I will let you know if you have won. But good luck. I mean, look, I had crossed my fingers for a snow day and it happened, so you never know. So let's go through what all I got done over the long weekend, and I kind of broke it up where I did a little bit of work each day. That way it wasn't overwhelming, but Billy had work things he had to do. Whenever he's working, I'm like, well, I might as well get stuff done. I did work a lot on slides. Now, currently, as I mentioned, it is January 22nd. I have the rest of this module that we're currently doing, it's all on fractions. That set of slides is fully done, and I think that puts us at like the first week of February, so I'm planned a good 2 to 3 weeks ahead. But I went ahead and set up the slides for the last 2 modules. So we're on module 5. I got slides and like the overviews done for module 6 and 7, which feels really, really good. Now, when I say got the slides set up, I mean, I like wrote in the objectives, I put in screenshots of their problem sets. I still have to go in and actually plan out the lessons and do like the bulk of it, but I got, little bits done. I also made, I updated dismissal lists. I can't show you those obviously, but you know how throughout the year kids' dismissal changes? I keep a list by my door so that I can easily reference it, and I got that updated. I also printed some binder covers. These were little piddly things I had on my to-do list as like, someday when I get time, I will do these things. They just weren't priorities, but I had the time. I got them done. And it felt really good to cross them off, can I just say. So I made 2 different binder covers, one for district and campus information, and then one for student info and data. I don't keep a lot of binders. I do a lot of things digitally, but there are certain things I like to have printed out, especially like the rubric that's used for teacher observations, or obviously for student data. I might have copies of 504 plans or IEPs or medical information, or my spreadsheets. I've showed you the clipboard cruising. It's like a way to progress monitor students. Once that is done, I need a place to store it. I want to be able to keep it. So I made the binder covers. I also made the binder spines to go with them. And when I make binder spines, I print them on cardstock and laminate them because it makes it easier to slip in. I don't end up laminating the actual binder covers. But if you are interested, I do have a set of edible binder covers. I will link them for you. And then this is not included with it. I had this from my sub binder and I just repurposed it, but I did make kind of like a cover sheet table of contents to go at the beginning of the student info and data binder. I have numbered tabs, so this corresponds to those numbered tabs. I also created these, what I'm gonna refer to as cheat sheets for TEKS. Now, TEKS is Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. When I taught in Maryland, we utilized Common Core, but in Texas, we utilize TEKS. Now, I wanted these to be basically a 1-page sheet with all of the TEKS for that subject area. And I know what you're thinking, you're like, Michelle, there's 2 pages there. Yes, but I'm gonna put them in a page protector front and back, so it'll be 1 page, essentially. I just printed them on 2 separate pieces of cardstock, but I went through and I just copied and pasted from the PDF for the TEKS, but I organized it by each different set. I have the letter, why did I flip that? There's nothing on the back, I printed them separate. But this way I can have just front and back 1 page with all of the TEKS for math, and then I did the same thing for science. Now, if you teach Common Core, I actually have these in my TPT store for all the different grade levels, and it includes all the subject areas. And I have the cheat sheets where it's like this, very small, and then I also have ones that are slightly larger for each domain if you want to print those out as well and keep them in a binder, or just use them digitally and you can search within them. So I will link the Common Core ones. Now, I don't have the TEKS available in my store, but if you teach 4th grade math and science, I got you. I'm gonna link the PDF for each of these in the description box. Maybe at some point I will add on other subject areas and grade levels, but for this long weekend, that's all that I could get done. But it felt good to finally have this. I can stick it in a binder, and it's just nice to have to reference at various PDs or when planning. That way, it's all in one place. The last thing that I did school-wise was prep Jenga cards. So a couple vlogs ago, I shared that I had gotten money from a fundraiser that we did, and one of the items I had purchased were these colored Jenga blocks. So what I love about colored Jenga blocks is you can utilize them in a lot of different ways for students as a review game. So I had these Jenga blocks sitting in my math flex bins, and my idea was I could create cards that correspond to the different colored blocks. So there's purple, blue, green, yellow, red, and pink. I could create questions that correspond with the different colors. So when students play and they set up the Jenga tower, they draw a card, and based on the color of the card, that's the colored block they have to pull, but in order to pull it, they have to answer the question correctly. But because of that, you can use the same Jenga kit and then just change out the questions based on the unit that you're on or the skill that you want your students to practice. And I had this idea. I had put the Jenga blocks in my Math Flex bins, but I had not made the cards yet. And my students kept asking me, like, when can we play Jenga? When can we play Jenga? And I'm like, not yet. I have to make the cards. And so I finally made a set of cards. I made it based on our current unit, which we are currently working on, as I mentioned, fractions. So it's a lot of cards. I think I did 20 per color, which there's 6 colors, so that many cards. My brain is not working yet. Here's essentially how it worked. I created the cards pretty basic. I put directions and like the questions. So for example, use a strategy of your choice to solve, and this would be adding a mixed number and a fraction. Then you will notice I have the little colored dot. So each one has a different colored dot to match a color of the Jenga block. And then I also put the module number just so that way if the cards were to get mixed up, I know what unit that card went with. So I printed these all out, laminated them, cut them. I'm gonna store them, I think in one of these like zipper pouches. I have a bunch of these in different sizes that I got on Amazon. I will link them for you. I love them for things like this, random cards and whatnot. Please fit. I should probably shuffle these, but I'll have my students do that. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I will introduce this to my students today, and then that will be used through the start of the next module, since when I make the cards, it's gonna be a mixture of questions from each different module. I don't wanna have my students play at the beginning of the module because they haven't learned enough yet. More than anything, it should be review. So actually, I may keep this module 5 set in there until like March, and then when we move on to module 7, I'll put module 6 cards in there. But I just wanted to share that because if you also have colored Jenga blocks or you're wanting to get some, this is a quick, easy review game that you could do with your students. And I will link for you the template for the cards. Not that it's anything fancy. It's just a table with little colored circles, but it will already have the text boxes there for you in the description box. I just made it in Google Slides. So if you want to utilize it to create your own review game, that will be there for you along with the colored Jenga block set. Starting this week, my students also have a new iReady tracker. Now, iReady is a platform we use for personalized practice for both math and reading. They take diagnostic tests 3 times a year at the beginning, middle, and end. From there, the platform will automatically decide which lessons students need. I can also go on and personally assign lessons, but our students have a goal of minutes that they have to reach each week, and then we are also making them reach a certain number of lessons passed. So here is how I set up the tracker. At the top, I already went through and labeled out the weeks through the rest of the year. The next 2 columns are for the minutes needed. So depending on the week, most weeks we say our students need 60 minutes in math. But weeks like this, where it's shorter, we might shorten it to 45 minutes. So they're gonna write 45 minutes. Once they achieve that, they will check off in that next box. Then I have 5 different spots for them to write the percentage that they get on their lessons that they complete throughout the week. Now, most weeks, students are not completing 5 lessons. I just have 5 spots just in case. But let's say they get an 83%, they would write 83. If they get 100% on any of the lessons, I also will color in one of these boxes. And I told my students for every 5 that they fill out, they will get a prize. Then they have to get it signed by me by the end of the week. So here's an example. I just kind of showed this to my students, what it could look like. Let's say they need 45 minutes for the week. Once they get that 45 minutes, they check it off, and then they put their percentages here. We are considering 75% or better a passing score. So for this week, 85% would count as a lesson passed, 70 would not. 75 would count as a lesson passed, and then obviously 100, and then I would shade in a box. So each week they need 60 minutes, or if it's a short week, it might only be 45, and they need at least 2 lessons passed for the week, and then I sign off on it. I had my students glue these in their math notebooks just on the back of the front cover. Let me show you what that looks like. So on the very first page of their notebook, they already had this table of contents where I had listed out all the different modules. I also have a multiplication chart and I have a fraction equivalence image there. I had them glue the iReady tracking on the back of the front cover. That way they have it for the rest of the year and it's an easy to find spot for them. I don't have to worry about it getting lost. Now, you may not use iReady, but you might have another platform where students have to complete a certain amount of practice each week or complete a certain number of lessons. Regardless, hopefully you can at least utilize that idea. I'm gonna link the tracker for you, which it's a Google Slides file in the description box. So if you wanna go in and make a copy and edit it to work for you, you can do that. I printed these at 80%. So rather than a full sheet, just for comparison, this was one of those TEKS cheat sheets. I printed it at 80% so that it fits perfectly in their notebook, but it's a 8.5 by 11. You can resize it however you need. Now, if you watched my last vlog, I had showed you the volcano kits, which I'm giving to my students for Valentine's Day, and I had said I was going to assemble them at the end of the day and then completely forgot. So they are still in the box, but that is on my to-do list to get done today after school. So stay tuned. Hopefully in this vlog, you will get to actually see what they look like assembled. Now just surrounded by volcanoes. It's like being in Hawaii.
Kalikimaka is Hawaii's way.
Except not at all, because my classroom and our school, especially the hallways, have just been so cold today. At one point I was wearing 3 different jackets, but I do have to say, when we went outdoors for recess, y'all, these electric rechargeable hand warmers that I got for Christmas are so nice. So highly recommend. I will link them for you again in case you also live somewhere either where it's cold or you are just not adapted to cold weather when it shows up. Hi, that is me. You gotta get you some rechargeable hand warmers because they are amazing. But volcanoes, they turned out so cute, so stinking cute. So here's what it looks like all assembled. So the package came with the bag, the tags, the ribbon to tie it up with. You've got the direction sheet, you've got the eruption powder, and then the other powder and the stick, and obviously the volcanoes. So everything you need is included. All you have to do is fill out the tags, which it does include kind of 2 different designs. So all you need is lava, and then it also has I lava you. I just can't get over how absolutely adorable these are. This is gonna be my go-to. Like all the years to come, this is what I'm doing so long as I teach science for Valentine's Day. Total, I would say it took about 45 minutes, but that was assembling 2 classes worth. I did it like an assembly line, so I had piles of all the materials. I put the volcanoes, the sticks, the powders, all that into the bags, had a big pile of all those. Then I took the tags, which I had already filled out, and I strung them with the ribbon. And then I went through and tied all of them up, and I just tied a knot. I cut the ribbon like this long, so I don't know, 6, 7 inches, and it worked out fine. I had plenty of ribbon left. Now granted, I had 7 kits left, but I used way less than that ribbon, so you could make them a little bit longer. But if you are interested and you want to twin with me for Valentine's Day and get a similar treat for your students, I will link these down in the description box. Obviously, it's pricier than some other options, but they are really, really cute. And again, I paid for this with money that my class had raised from a fundraiser. So, reflecting on the day, it was a little bit of a chaotic day, and I think that was to be expected after coming back from a 4-day weekend. We had testing going on, so at one point I only had half of my math class that I was teaching, and then of course as students came back in, I had to fill them in on what we were doing. For math, I just took the lesson we were gonna do yesterday and I taught it today. Science, I'm basically condensing what would have been 4 days into 3. That way we can start fresh with the next chapter next week. So as a result, today we did our investigation, which thankfully it was digital, which made it a little bit easier. There were no physical materials to deal with. We started reading the textbook and started taking notes. And then tomorrow we're gonna continue taking notes. We're going to start writing our CER for the week, and then Friday will be our graded assignment. So it just made things a little bit more chaotic. But overall, my students got right back into the routine, which is always good to see. Recess was funny because students were trying to find any little pockets of snow. And one student brought in a little chunk of ice that they had found. They were like, it survived. But it's pretty much all gone now. It has melted. I am gonna head out of here. I need to get to the gym, get my workout in, and I'm all up to date on lesson planning, so there's really no reason for me to stick around. Of course, there's always things on the to-do list, but I'd rather get out of here on the earlier side. I need to figure out where I'm storing all of these. I know you all can't see much in the frame, but the whole front of my table is just all these kits. I didn't think this through, because when they were in a box, they were nice and easy to store. I'm probably just gonna shove them in that closet. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. As always, thank you for watching. I love you so much. Don't forget to put your positive pants on, and I'll catch you in the next one.